Cinema in minutes. In today's video, we will be going through a war drama film entitled Jarhead 2. There will be spoilers ahead, chill out and enjoy. The movie starts with a narration of a man and a black screen on why he has to memorize M16A rifle and train for 70 hours and a question lingering why he has to fight and why he has to die. Guns are everywhere and shouting and making every second and every movement counts. The opposition shoots everywhere. One sergeant is scolding a soldier trying to make him understand something, and when the soldier says that he understands all those things, a bazooka was fired and it hit the soldier and his leg is torn up in pieces and couldn't save him for the soldier lost so much blood. 13 years and set in Afghanistan with 68,000 soldiers seems like the camp is having a blast while welcoming other soldiers. A major is talking to a soldier Chris Muramet asking about his wife and having a baby. Chris says that it is his wife's 8th month now and the major says that he would miss it. They are talking about Chris becoming a squad leader and the major congratulating him, but he says that Corporal Kettner is better than him and who also has the same rank as him. He also reasoned out that he enlists for 4 years already and he says that he is just going to end his contract. The major says that he could think about it sometime and Chris responded that they haven't talked about it with his wife. The next day the squad where Chris is in is talking about who could be their squad leader, what could he or she be or how is his or her attitude of being the leader, and they are very curious and they ask Chris and he said that it was him. The squad is relieved that they don't have a leader who would just boss around. They are ready to fight their battle and the major just introduced an Afghanistan soldier, Private Faisal. Kettner is not feeling good about the new recruit. Kettner asked Chris if he is okay with Private Faisal and giving him weapons, so Chris asked for Private Faisal asked if he is an undercover terrorist and if he will kill them all. The private answers that he has no intention of harming anyone in the squad, and that ends their conversation and went out of the base. The squadron is having fun with their journey, talking about random things and choosing from what to not and telling jokes. The squadron is on a narrow route between two high mountains and they suddenly stop for a suspected harmful device that is covered with plastics. Chris reported and commanded to wait for Explosive Ordnance Explosive Specialist, EOD. Their sweats are all over their bodies as they are waiting for the EOD in the middle where the sun rises on its peak. It's already been 2 hours and they started to get bored. Someone called for Soto, who is the one operating on the tank. The one who called him tell a story about meeting a girl and thought that she is the one, but he ended up receiving a Dear John letter. The newcomer is so frustrated that he leaves the truck and says that he would do it. When he is near the suspected harmful device, Chris commands Kettner to talk and get him. Whatever Corps Kettner is saying to PT Faisal, he still continues to observe the suspected item and suddenly a man with a camel holding his cell phone came that causes of commotion. Corps Kettner says to PT Faisal to drop the thing the man is holding or else he will shoot straight, pointing the rifle to the man. PT Faisal says to relax because he is just a man who is passing by and Kettner repeated himself and PT Faisal talked to the man on their language, and when the man drops his cell phone the tension is now okay, but then when PT Faisal is to inspect the suspected item, he says that it is just a wrecked radio, and then PT Faisal continues to dig because he is still curious and found 2 explosives. Chris says not to do anything with the explosive, but PT Faisal will cut the wire even though Corps Kettner says that he will going to shoot him if he didn't listen. Chris went out of the truck and is so upset with what PT Faisal did. He went straight to PT Faisal and scolded him that he should have not done something like that because it could kill him. PT Faisal responded and says that he gets it. The squadron continues their journey and is now on the red route, which is mostly the base of the terrorists. While they are having a fun conversation, a man in a soldier uniform stopped them. Chris went out to check and asks what happened and identified their squads. The one from the SEAL named Fox says that they are wrecked and says that their communications are down and they are only 3 as of that moment and 2 in uniform and a girl. The 3 gets into their truck. Fox is thanking Chris for they have saved their lives, and when they are continuing their journey they were ambushed in the middle of the valley. They are now exchanging gunfires and missiles. In the middle of that chaos, Soto is shocked and can't even respond to Chris, and when they are about to be bombed, they get out of the truck and hides, for they have disadvantage that the enemies are hiding on top of the mountains. One man down after another for the terrorists, but when Lee saw that there are terrorists coming in Soto's direction, Lee went his way and protected Soto, but unfortunately, he is shot but still fights on his will to leave Soto in danger. Cooper is also shot and the 2 good soldiers are down, but they made it and they are now going on their journey with their foot. It is already dark and they are taking their rest. Fox says that PT Faisal should watch the girl and everyone is on alert setting a perimeter. PT Faisal and the girl is now having a conversation using their language. PT Faisal says to the girl that he knows her, but he also said that she doesn't need to worry for he will not surrender him to the Taliban, the terrorist. PT Faisal says that it wouldn't hurt her to say it to the squad because they are saving her life. On the other side, Kettner says that he still doesn't trust PT Faisal and asks Danny, the only girl in the squad, what is her thought of PT Faisal, and she answered that PT Faisal has his gun and fight for with him during the encounter. And when they talk about the girl, Danny seems confused. Kettner says that he also doesn't know, but he says she's just his type. On the base camp, the major and the captain is discussing the squadron, and the situation is reported and says that they need to get the squadron out there because they will be ambushed if not, and the thing is, Air Force is not possible for there will be a sandstorm and we'll be having a zero visibility in that area. The major just asked the captain to do everything what they could do at that moment. The squad continues their journey the next day, and while they are walking, gunshots are everywhere. That is why they hide on the field. They are talking about how they can counter-attack, and Fox says that they are going to make a closer distance with squadron leader Chris and the rest would stay. The two is now on their move, and Chris went behind the path of where the snipers are in there. He starts to attack them. They are now in a battle fist on fist. It is the Fox's idea since guns will draw more attention. Chris is almost knocked down, but he got a stone on his hand and starts to hit the Taliban until the Taliban lost his breath. The two have killed those snipers and now they are on their way. They rest for a second and Chris is looking far away and Fox noticed it. He went to Chris's direction and says that don't do it. Chris asks what is he doing, and the chief says that he is overthinking the killing that happened earlier. Fox explains that it is always a matter of life and death. It is either he will live or he will be the one who will be dead. They continue on their walk after that rest, and Fox sensed that their way could be dangerous because he says that wherever there are field of opium poppies there will be Taliban. And after a few minutes, a vehicle arrived and there an encounter happens. Fire guns are flying everywhere and the squadron had some trouble of fighting those terrorists, and then suddenly, the chief goes shot twice and he is now down on his knees. They have cleared the encounter, but Fox is in a very bad condition. Fox says to Chris that he should bring Anush, the woman, to the city. Kettner went to him and he says to give him a minute. Then he decides that they are going to continue to keep Anush safe until she reaches her destination. Kettner says that she is not even their mission, and Chris just replied that as of that moment she is. They are now near the city and Chris says that they should be alert on their toes and they are checking all doors and windows of the place if they are clear. Danny caught someone who is recording them. Then suddenly, men with guns came from a door and Chris asks Faisal to translate in order to get their weapons down, and so did they. Chris asks what the men are saying and he says that they are inviting them inside. They went in and they are now having a conversation while Chris always reminds them to stay alert and report if there is any suspicious movement outside. Kettner says that he didn't want their situation for it is so silent, and Chris says the calm before the storm, and after that Taliban came to their area and they readied themselves, protecting Anush. The two groups are now communicating through their guns as if they are saying that whoever will be the last man will win. They almost wiped out the terrorists, but another truck came to attack them, and the worst part is that they are attacked with an RPG. The house is now on fire and every Marine is down. They are having a hard time standing in there. Anush was captured and they can't do anything when the terrorists are taking Anush away. Chris says that they need to stand up and must go on, and when they are now on a high place there is Faisal praying. Chris asks Danny if she prays and Danny replies when she is with her daughter. Kettner asks why they are saving Anush's life even if it is not an order for them. Faisal just replied that she is a symbol to their country, and because of her, the people of Afghanistan have seen hope when she stood up for what she believes in, even if it hurts her in the end because the terrorists killed her little sister, she is still trying to survive. Chris says that they need to get Anush back and he will never let a woman die and they are going to get her at dawn. Faisal says where might be the terrorists taking Anush, and then they went there and follow Faisal's lead. They are now inside and a prayer of the Taliban starts. Anush is now tied and the squad is on their move sneaking. Chris says that they need to keep low and they will not use their gun as necessary. They are now inside and figuring where Anush is until they are caught. Fire guns are now everywhere and Anush yells for help, which helps Chris to locate her. They are now on their way, but Faisal and Kettner can't pass the place, and there, they decided to be left and tell Chris to keep going. Chris together with Danny and Anush had a hard time escaping the place, but luckily, they escaped with a car while Kettner was shot and Faisal covered his wound. And for the very first time, they have agreed on something. They fight until the end even though they knew they could die. The movie ends as they have arrived on their base. Chris narrating all of the answers on his very first questions. That they have signed their contract for their country, fight side by side with others and make a difference for a better world, and as he said, once and for all, they are jarheads. Thanks for watching, subscribe for more videos like this and to help the channel grow.